Let's talk about the difference between natural difficulty and artificial difficulty, and why artificial difficulty is a bad thing to have in a game, and why developers should try to stray away from it strenuously hard, especially for games like The Division and Destiny, and games that fall along the MMO line of thought, because while Destiny and The Division are not classified as MMOs by their developers, they are definitely along the line of thought and development as MMO games are.
Yeah, the fucking boom boom.
So, artificial difficulty would be taking something on a normal setting, and then you take it to hard mode. When you take it to hard mode, the artificial difficulty of it would be simply adding more enemies, making them have more health, making them hit harder.
You know what I mean?
That's artificial difficulty. You're not really actually increasing the difficulty of it in any way except for you requiring to shoot them more and get shot less. It's not any more entertaining. In fact, generally it ends up being more frustrating because it creates a dissonance between what you're used to and what you're now getting. And generally when developers only have artificial difficulty to raise the difficulty of their game off of, it becomes increasingly frustrating as hard modes and more challenging modes seem to become useless. Over the years, developers have drastically started to stray away from this artificial difficulty and moved more towards a natural difficulty, which would be something like introducing a new mechanic, introducing new mobs, or giving the mobs different types of abilities. Now, generally, this strictly applies to MMOs, or games along that MMO line of thought, World of Warcraft, Black Desert, Destiny, and it should apply to The Division. Unfortunately, it doesn't. The Incursion Falcon Lost is nothing but an artificial difficulty uptick. They put you in a single room where you have to fight through 15 waves of enemies. And there's 10 to 15 to 20, the further you go along, enemies in each wave. The increase in difficulty in Falcon Lost in the Incursion from normal content versus the increase in difficulty of a raid in Destiny going from normal mode to hard mode is artificial versus natural. Now, a good developer will mix in a little bit of artificial with a little bit of natural difficulty, about 50-50. You do want them, of course, to hit a little bit harder and have a little bit more health, but that's not the only thing you want them to do. That's boring, it's just the same thing twice over, but more difficult for a pointless reason. You want to add more mechanics in. You want it to be more diverse. A good example is in Destiny. In the King's Fall raid, the final fight, Oryx, you have to kill these ogres. When you kill them, an orb, a big black orb, drops on the ground. You have to run up to the orb and stand on it for a second so it activates. And then this does damage to the boss. Now in hard mode, whenever you kill this ogre, a knight spawns. And this knight runs over and he eats the orb. So if you don't take care of that knight, if you don't kite him or kill him before he gets to the objective, there's also a few other methods of handling him depending on whatever guide you're looking at the time. He will make it harder on you for completing the mechanic of using the orbs. That is natural difficulty. Is the knight part of artificial difficulty? A little bit, because he does add another mob in the room that you have to kill. But he doesn't really actually target players as much as he does go for the orb and try to get rid of it before you get to it and detonate it. And that's a natural difficulty spike. It's adding another thing for you to worry about that isn't just me having to shoot people more. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to shit on The Division for the entire time we're talking about it. I actually really enjoyed this update. Aside from the Incursions, I'm not too happy with the Incursion itself. But I'm enjoying the update itself. I enjoy the new content, I enjoy the supply drops, I enjoy the new gear and gear score system immensely. It gives you a more physical type of incremental increase to work towards in terms of how powerful you are. It makes it a lot more visual as opposed to being, oh well, I'm level 30 in level 31 gear. The gap's obviously larger than that. And this definitely does show how large that gap is, and that's why I like this update. And the supply drops in the Dark Zone, they're a lot more fun, and the increased loot overall, while they did nerf the crafting system, the increase overall to what drops now, I think kind of balances that out. And I still think the entire loot system is about where it was. You just feel like you're getting more rewarded. And players feeling like they're getting more rewarded is always a good thing. But the incursion itself, I'm really, really disappointed with. There are no real mechanics in this. Yeah, you turn off 2 turrets and you attach C4 to the back of the APC. That's not a mechanic. Considering you do it in between waves, it's extremely easy. You have 2 people on one side, 2 people on the other. It's not really all that interactive. There's no difficulty to it. It's silly. It's silly. It's unnecessary almost. They might as well just have you kill 15 waves of people. I would almost rather you have to blow the fuck out. Like if they had the helicopter fight is more of a mechanic than this APC fight. The helicopters, you can turn each of the turrets on one by one, and then the helicopter will go into this rampage mode where it's shooting missiles down everywhere and you're slowly getting rid of its armor. Now, the higher level you get, that really doesn't matter because I can look at that helicopter and we can pop multiple stacked buffs and kill the boss in about 5 seconds, literally. But that had more natural difficulty to it than this APC fight does. Because it wasn't so worried about constantly spawning mobs. It did spawn some to give you an obstacle to run around, but the main obstacle was the helicopter itself and the rockets that it sent down and the machine gun fire who it was focusing, you moving around the obstacles, the area it gave you to play in. Then you could turn on the turrets to take down pieces of its armor, making sure you were still in cover. That had more of a natural difficulty to it than this incursion does. It's almost purely artificial difficulty. And when I first got into it, I was thinking 15 rounds, well, they must be kind of small, you know, waves here. And no, they're about anywhere from 10 to 20 people a wave that you have to fight off. And then you get a bomb about every 4 rounds that you attach to the back of the APC. And it takes 30 to 45 minutes for this one fucking fight, which is what makes the artificial difficulty in it painstakingly obvious, is the fact that you're in this one room the entire time, you're killing the same enemies over and over again, hiding in the same areas over and over again, and you're like, oh, we'll change it up, hide somewhere else. We're doing what's optimal, which is what you're always going to do. You will do what is optimal. And the optimal thing to kill all these people and over again is just to hide there. And if this is the kind of content they're going to give to us with incursions, I would rather they not make incursions. And I would rather them spend that development time on more Dark Zone areas, more quests, more storylines. They had some great set pieces and some great things inside the story themselves that I thought was really, really cool that they don't have here in this incursion. And the fact that it's so short, not to mention the rewards for it, you know, I can go run challenge mode 3 or 4 times, and the set pieces are a lower gear score, yes, but there's still a set piece, and I can run that 3 or 4 times on a challenge mode, like Russian Consulate. I don't see why I wouldn't. Or I can go to the Dark Zone, which is much more entertaining, and the Dark Zone actually also drops set pieces. It does not just drop Path of the Nomad, it drops all the set pieces that we've seen so far. We've seen Strikers, and we've seen Technicians come out of the Dark Zone. So it's kind of like, why do incursions then? It's 30 minutes and it's really boring, and there are multiple things that are much more rewarding than it. There's 1, there's 2. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
If this is what they're going to deliver us for their incursion type of content, like I said, just rather they wouldn't. Now, that being said, this is their first incursion. Can they learn from their mistakes? Yes. Does everybody agree with me? No. There are many people that probably don't agree with me and think incursions are fine and they're okay with just artificial difficulty. Personally, especially after playing Destiny, where the tick up in difficulty was somewhat artificial, but there was also a natural difficulty increase. It's just disappointing to see incursions go this way as opposed to regular content. They're very bland compared to regular content. There's nothing unique that stands out about them at all. But raids in Destiny, compared to regular content, raids are fucking amazing. They're awesome. And is this their raid content? I don't know. They won't make that clear to us, obviously, and they probably never will. From a PR standpoint, they're going to call them incursions. I don't think they're going to make a one-to-one comparison and answer to the community that yes, incursions are the raids of the Division. Maybe they will. But if this is their style or type of raid content, I would honestly rather they didn't and figure out different ways to integrate set pieces into the game. But that's just my thought on it, versus the natural versus artificial difficulty uptick. I just feel like there's a lot more they could have done.
Do you want to try? Oh man.
And maybe they'll do more with not their next incursion, because obviously they already know what that content's going to be like, but months down the road, content they haven't really started developing yet. Think of some actual interesting mechanics. Not just killing a bunch of mobs and then putting explosives on the back of a tank. Something that doesn't move in the room at all. If it had moved, like alone, like literally, if it had been moving around the room, and they forced you to get its attention in the room somewhere else by shooting electric boxes so it shocks it and knocks out all the electronics inside, then you can place the C4 on it. So you have to lure it over close to the wall, then you have to shoot the box, then you have to put the C4 on the back after you've killed the wave to do damage to it. That would have actually been a really fucking cool mechanic. Because we've seen those electric boxes, but no, it's just, it doesn't move. Press a button, press another button, put the stuff on there, you're done. There's no real natural difficulty to this. It's boring. Again, though, that's my opinion. That's my thought. I'm sure yours are different. But maybe if we, for those of us that think the same thing, if we voice this concern loud enough, they will try to reconsider how they approach their content later on. I'm Guns, guys. If you like this video, feel free to hit the thumbs up. If you're not subscribed already, please do so. If you dislike the video or you disagree with my opinion, hit the dislike button and tell me why. I generally want, like, again, I only see this from my point of view. Maybe somebody feels that it does have natural difficulty and you can explain to me why. That's it for me, though. I'm Guns. I will see you guys later.
God damn it, and they were both the fucking backpack.